I'm Florence. I'm an architect, and I'm here to talk to you about not going to an architect. When you want to build or remodel, add on to your home, then I'm suggesting you don't just start with an architect. And that may be a little strange to hear from an architect, but I've got my reasons for it. And what I want to do today is to help you understand and give you information so that you can make the choice of which design route you want to go with, a design professional, and who's going to assist you in designing and planning your home and creating the documents that you need to get a building permit. And so let's get into it. We're going to, like I said, there are four main design professionals that you can rely on, and we're going to talk about each one and when they might be appropriate, pros and cons of each option. So let's start. Even though I said let's not go to an architect, we're going to start with an architect in this video. And an architect is a great option. It's one that we think of first, and it's one that we think is maybe out of our reach a little bit, because an architect has a great deal of schooling and experience. They've gone through testing and licensing, professional licensing, and they carry with them a certain liability when they put their stamp on drawings. The state that licenses an architect makes sure and regulates that health and safety is a priority and is utmost in the architect's mind. That's what the licensing is for. It's not for being a good designer. It's for making sure that buildings are safe and are code compliant and are legal. And so with going to an architect, then you would expect that training and experience, that those design ideas that years of practice has developed, and the understanding of codes, and that all that would add to the quality of your home. And if you find a good architect, and there are lots of them, you find a good architect, you will get that. And you will also get full service. And they will help you with your consultants that you might need, structural engineers, civil engineers, landscapers, and in contractors too. And the architect is like the hub of a wheel, and the different consultants are like the spokes. And the architect's responsibility is to explain that vision, that architectural vision, that design vision, to each of the spokes, and verify that each individual is keeping in mind the vision for the home, the feeling, the budget, the everything that the client wants. The architect is responsible for making sure that it's carried out in all the different aspects. And cost, yes, for this kind of service, there is a cost. And usually it's about, I don't know, about 10 to 20% of the construction cost would be a reasonable architect's fee. Though the larger the building, the smaller the fee usually gets. And so when you're talking about a small home, it's a big chunk of money, big percentage for architects. And if you need somebody to guide you through the whole thing and be there from start to finish, to from the beginning ideas until you walk in with the key, and an architect can be a good choice. There are also three other choices. A designer, a home designer is a good choice. They have, generally speaking, they have some training and experience, but it's not regulated at all. And there's nothing there's nothing stopping anybody from saying, oh, I'm a designer. You could be in junior high and call yourself a designer and design a home, and there are no rules against that. And so the role of the designer is to develop the construction documents, those blueprints, and develop these in a way that's pleasing to the client. And generally speaking, they don't get into construction details, and they do not, they just hand you the plans and say, okay, here's your design, go get a contractor, and good luck with that. And sometimes they don't even assist with getting a building permit. It depends on the designer and what their service options are. A good designer will know the trends and will know the industry and be able to get you. They usually don't deal with real tightly with budget, but they should be able to kind of they'd be able to get the square footage that you want, but not necessarily the budget. Those numbers are just really outside of their scope generally. Again, it depends on the designer. An architect is trained to estimate the budget and to keep within that. Designer is not necessarily. One of the downsides of having a designer, for some people it's a downside, is that they just give the plans. Like I said, you don't have that continuity of service. And so some people like that. I don't know how you feel about that. The more comfortable you are with working in the construction field, the more comfortable you would be with working with a designer rather than an architect. And our third design professional would be a drafter. And their training and experience is, it varies also. There are no regulations. And their job is to draw. And that's all. Not necessarily to interpret what you want, but to draw exactly what you give them. And drafters are important. And if you know what you want, that's a really good route to go. Suppose you have a floor plan that you've seen, maybe your cousin's house you've been to, and you want something very similar, except maybe you want a little bit bigger garage, or you want a little bit smaller kitchen, something like that. Then a drafter would be able to manipulate the drawings. And manipulate isn't the right word. Let's see. They would be able to create the drawings. Can we say that? Okay. And get you a set of plans. They'd give that to you, and then you would take it from there and get the building permit, get the contractor, get the bids, or however you want to handle that construction aspect. You're on your own with that, and they do not do design work. So we're coming down in price. We're also coming down in services. And our fourth option is a DIY. You can draw your own home. And this is legal in most places. I would check with your jurisdiction, the authority having jurisdiction having authority, one of those. Anyway, check with your building department. Already having jurisdiction, yes. Check with your building department. There are a few really high-end places that, maybe ski resorts or places that have really strict rules about design and the houses that can be there. And these are the high-end houses, sometimes require an architect. And that is not that's a local code. That is not a universal code, not a United States code. And so anyway, you can draw it by hand. You can get some software that's made specifically for beginners, or maybe you took drafting in high school and you know how to do this, and that's fine. Talk to your building department, and they generally have a list of drawings that you need, what scale they need to be at, and what they need to contain. They even have standard sizes for structural members. Now, of course, sometimes if you have to have a big beam or you want something grand that takes more structural calculations, then you would need a structural engineer. But if you're just doing a straight house, just standard windows, just standard openings, you may not need a structural engineer. And so doing it yourself is an option. And not everybody feels comfortable with that, but you might. So yeah, you can decide on your own if an architect with the full service, a designer with a little bit less service and less oversight, less responsibility, less concern about safety and liability, or a drafter who's just gonna get it out, get a clean set of drawings for somebody to work with, or you deciding exactly what you want. Those are our options. And I would recommend that you consider very carefully your own experience, your own comfort level, your own willingness to learn, if that's what you need to do. And be aware that if you are if you're okay, I got to get something here. If you're yeah, you can hang on just a second. I'm gonna pause. So okay, I got it. So when to hire an architect? Definitely if you've got major structural changes, if the local jurisdiction requires it, if you've got a large scale project with really complex roof and engineering going on, you need an architect. When that's not such a big deal and you've got just minor updates and simple renovations, kind of straightforward, then consider the other options. If you know exactly what you want and you do not want anybody changing your plan, please do not go to an architect. You'd be wasting your money. Even going to a designer, if you're not going to listen to anybody's changes, you know what you want and that's the way it's going to be. Go to a drafter or draw it yourself. There's no reason for you to use your resources of money for something that you don't need. And we also have the resources of time and energy. So keep those in account when you're deciding which is best for you, an architect, a designer, a drafter, or you. So good luck with that. And let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll be back with more updates and more just helping you through the process of building and designing your own home, and going through that, whether you hire somebody or whether you do it yourself. There are certain steps to go through, and we're going to talk about those next time. And thanks so much. Happy building.